How's everyone doing in this Chili's tonight? I'm doing okay. Man, getting this stream up was very stressful. I put way too much work into something that is very, very stupid. You will see. But anyway, let me just hold on a second. Henshin! Ho ah! Kacha! I'm sorry you're doing weird panic witch. Big hug. I feel good in this Chili's tonight. Anyway, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk, and then we're gonna do something else. But first, I need to. Yeah, it's like Ultraman, but I get small. Yeah. We're gonna talk about Well, I would say something important, but it's not at all important. Okay. Let me show you what we're gonna talk about. Y'all saw this on Twitter today? Thank you. Y'all saw this on Twitter today? This thing? This thing right here? This thing that my eyes are pointing out? So, we're finally gonna get announcements. A little bit of that Panic Witch. Hi, Sardews! So, we're gonna get some exciting Sonic news in a few days. Hi! And honestly, I just want y'all to put in perspective. Okay? It's literally been 4 years since the last like big Sonic games. I want you to have perspective here, okay? I've been in this pandemic very, very isolated with only my thoughts to keep me company. And it's been a long time since the last Sonic game, the last big mainline Sonic game was released. They used to release these like goddamn like there was no tomorrow, right? Like just in 2010 alone, they released like 3 platformer Sonic games, right? They released like Sonic 4 and then Sonic Colors for the DS, which is completely different than the Sonic Colors for the Wii. So to have like this huge hiatus, right, of 4 years, and then also being stuck in the pandemic a lot, and also the fact that I don't know about you, maybe it's something that children have and I never outgrown it, but to keep myself busy when I'm alone, I just keep designing games in my head, right? Which I guess is a common thing for children to do, right? It's just like, I wonder what the next Smash Brothers game is going to be like. It's gonna have Cloud Strife and Mega Man. And then I come by like 20 years later, and it's like, yeah, we got him. We also got this guy called Ike, and he fights for his friends. I don't know if you know this about Ike. He fights for his friends. So, so it's been a long time. I've been stuck in quarantine, and honestly, I want to share this, right? Because I've thought about this a lot, and I don't know how fun it is to watch someone be armchair designer. Hopefully, it's fun at all, because this discussion is going to be a little bit like that. It's like basically a little bit like half of what I expect, what I would do if I was head of Sonic's team, of like what I think would make the most sense, and half of it is just me being a fangirl and being like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if Sephiroth was a Sonic character? So yeah, I just want you to give context here, and also, you know, like I feel like armchair designer videos are always like, hey, here's why I'm a genius. Here's why I'm a secret genius and why why game companies should be listening to me. It's not that, you know? I think that the difference between a good idea or a bad one is just execution. You can come up with the same, like, okay, to create something, right? You need to recognize a problem, you need to recognize a solution to that problem, and then you need to implement it. And honestly, sometimes you can recognize the solution, and you can come up with with an idea that logically would address that solution perfectly. And then when you implement it, it turns out that it does the exact opposite. It only exacerbates the problem. So I think that a lot about games is just execution, right? I've seen like the same idea in different games be like be like um like do the be the opposite, right? In one game it's like this wonderful, beautiful thing that completely solves the problem at hand, and in the other game it's just a mess. So with all of that out of the way, Sonic Mania 2! Which I think it's not happening. 100%, I don't think that's happening. I just want to share the stuff that I would like for a Sonic Mania 2 to have. But I think it's not happening. I think the team behind Sonic Mania is not working with Sega right now. Which is a shame because it's literally the thing that would make the most sense right now for them to have. Like as soon as Sonic Mania as soon as Sonic Mania released, like everyone else was like, man, it would be cool if there was a Sonic Mania 2, wouldn't it? And I don't think that's gonna happen, is the thing about it. Unfortunately. But hey, I can dream, right? And if I can dream, just just dream with me for a second, I guess. Oh, hold on a second. There we go. I noticed the chat was weird, so I had to. Yeah, dream with me for a little bit. Dream with me of a kinder world, a world without COVID-19, a world where the developers of Sonic Mania were recompensated fairly for their work and wanted to work with Sega again. Ah! Whew. Okay. So, where is it? There it is. No, that's not it. Okay, there we go. So this is the question that I kept like hammering my head over and over again. How do you generate that same sense of freshness and excitement that Sonic Mania did all over again? Like, how do we follow it up? How do we follow up the like act that Sonic Mania did of just like bringing something back so triumphantly and with such freshness and with such a huge step upwards in presentation? I don't know. I honestly do not know. I don't know how they can follow it up. You know, like I don't know like a sequel that it's like that is like that is like its own thing, right? I don't know how to do that, but I do have some ideas that would maybe, well, you can offer suggestions, go ahead. This is a little bit this is contributive. You can send me stuff. Sonic the Hedgehog, the animated series, the game. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how they would do that, but still, here's what I would do. Playable Bunny Rabbit? Maybe that's on my slides. Bunny Rabbit is pretty cool. Some ideas though, like this is basically like a wish list of what I would like for a Sonic Mania 2 to have. Okay? Completely new levels. I think that's a no-brainer, right? Emerald Hill Zone? I mean, Emerald Hill Zone is kind of Green Hill Zone. It's kind of there's a lot of Emerald Hill Zone in Green Hill Zone for the first Sonic Mania. But completely new levels. I don't think they can get away with like putting a bunch of returning levels again. I think that the fact that there were so little new levels, completely new levels in Sonic Mania 1 was its was the biggest let's say like letdown. Yes, letdown. That is the word that I was looking for. If there's a returning zone, it must be extremely off-kilter and obscure. I'm talking about a level from Sonic Spinball or from an 8-bit Sonic game, which might as well be a whole new level. Right? Like it's just a whole new level that is like that doubles as a reference, right? And just like and it has like remixed music, but it like it might as well be a whole new level, right? I like the song for the bridge zone in 8-bit Sonic, so you could do that. Bring that song back. Oh my god, the song for bridge zone is so good. It goes like ba da ba da ba ba da 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 da. Ah, Yuzo Koshiro's so good. By the way, he composed that soundtrack. Did you know that? The 8-bit Sonic 1 soundtrack? That was Yuzo Koshiro himself. Very good. Oh yeah, use Sonic 2 scrap concept art for ideas. I think that's the next level, right? Of like Mirage Saloon is basically the scrapped Dust Hill Zone from Sonic 2. Ah. Like they could just like these are like great ideas, right? And they double as like because Sonic Mania loves to be you know to throw in obscure references and stuff. Like here's some easy picks right here. Oh man, the Def Egg Zone. Look at that Def Egg Zone on the top right. That looks so good. I'm so I'm so bummed that Def Egg Zone didn't look anything like that in the final game. But anyway, I think this is a no-brainer, right? I think this is 100% a no-brainer. I think that you need to have Amy and Honey as playable characters, in addition to Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Right? They would take the place of Mighty and Ray, I suppose. Because, I mean, Amy, I think it's a pretty obvious choice, right? It feels like a very like glaring omission. Yeah, the image does sell itself. Amy feels like a pretty glaring omission from Mania. And Honey is basically the holy grail of obscure references, right? Which Mania loves to do. Mania loves to like bring back things that everyone thought that wasn't possible to bring back again. Right? Like Bean and Bark and Fang. And like Honey like represents the the pinnacle of it. Because for those not in the know, Honey over here is it's a character from Sonic the Fighters that you cannot access through normal means. You can only access her through hacking the game. She's like a dummy character that was never finished. And she's also based off of Honey from Fighting Vipers. She's like a Sonic version of her. And in the Xbox Live Arcade version, they kind of finished the character a little bit, but she's still like a secret character. So like she is the most obscure character, I believe, that is not like from a comic or from another property that is not like completely owned by Sega, right? So I think Honey represents the holy grail. And also, there are no playable girl characters in Sonic Mania, and they should change that. Also, I put this picture here of Amy because I love that car. Look at her. Look at that car. It's like Herbie, dude. That's weird. That's weird and cool. Slightly different storylines per character. Yeah, I love Amy's cool car. With a different auxiliary villain to Dr. Eggman and maybe even slightly different zone orders and bosses faced. So this is just me like thinking how to make it more exciting for people to play the same game with other characters, right? Because in the first Sonic Mania, they only released it at first with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. So it's three playthroughs going through the same levels, but one of them the levels are basically completely different anyway. And Tails already acts as a sort of like easy mode for Sonic. So it's not a lot of characters. And even with Knuckles, there's like some differences, right? Knuckles faces a different boss. Knuckles goes through a different level. So I think you just kind of like get that those like slight Knuckles differences in playthrough and sort of like apply them throughout the entire cast. That way you can just like justify having 5 characters or 5 quote-unquote campaigns, right? In a way that is like that is still like exciting to play through, and it's not just you playing through the same events and the same levels. I think the levels should roughly be the same. Like maybe a character or two has like an alternate path that only they can access, or you know, small differences like that. Um, but I think like bosses and like events and maybe like zone order should carry most of the differences here, right? Like characters should face their own like rival boss battles. Like Metal Sonic over there could be like a rival for Sonic, a rival character, I guess. And Fang could be like a rival character to Knuckles, you know. And you know, of course, you have this character here, which is technically a fan character, but like Get over here, she's a sort of like a fan character that people have created by misreading a sprite in Sonic Mania. And honestly, if Sonic Mania's motto is like fan made, right? Like by the fans and for the fans, I think there's nothing more poetic than to have like this character over here, right? Than to have like a fan made character that was made in response to Mania be turned official. I think that would make complete sense. And she could be like a sort of villain for Amy, maybe, right? Like she's like a counterpart to Amy, the same way that Amy obsesses over Sonic. Maybe like a Get Omelette here. Yeah, canonize her. Could be like obsessed for. It could be like a fangirl of Dr. Robotnik. So you know that would be. I think that makes complete sense. I forgot I made this image. I think the biggest thing that I hated about Sonic Mania is the blue sphere stages. Like, I think that it makes so little sense to have them appear in checkpoints. Like, I think that the experience that most people had when playing Sonic Mania was like playing like 2 minutes of the game to be interrupted by like 5 minutes of blue spheres. And that's insane to me. That's like such a terrible pacing. You end up playing more blue spheres than you end up playing the actual game. And I think that Sonic Mania would have been like a much better game if the blue sphere stuff were just like put in a side mode and that's it. Like if it didn't interact with the main game in any way. Just like, hey, here's a little extra. Here's like, you know, 40 excuse me, 40 blue sphere stages for you to play with, right? Because the special stages from Sonic Mania are great, and so I don't know I don't know why they decided to build the game with all these blue sphere stages. And also, I really like the bonus stages for Sonic 3 and Knuckles. At least 2 of them. One of them is over there, the glowing spheres one. And the other one that I love is the Gumball Machine one. I think they're fantastic bonus stages because like they're very short and sweet and brief. And yeah, it doesn't really interfere with the pacing of the game too much. It's just like a small distraction. The way that I think bonus stages should be. Anyway. New items could bring an exciting newness to the game. I think I need to, like, Sonic Mania introduces only one new item, which is the blue ring, which is fun. But I think that you could like introduce more new items, right? And I think that those new items could be like you could introduce maybe a new shield, for instance, right? Like, hey, here is like the golden shield, and you get that. It's like a secret shield that you get by like getting a shield, not getting hit, getting another shield, not getting hit, and then getting a third shield. And by the third shield that you switch between, it transforms into like a shield that has the properties of the mainline elemental games. Yeah, that's true, Money. That is absolutely true. But like, it could have been just a side mode, you know? It didn't have to like interact with the main game in that way. The fire flower power up. Or like, it doesn't have to be shields, right? Like hey, here's like an item that like doubles the amount of rings for like that you get for like a short amount of time. Here's a power up that is like the bomb in Sonic Adventure, right? That it destroys all the enemies on screen, but it also like makes rings fall down if they're floating in the sky, like the POW block from very shamelessly, like the POW block from New Super Mario Brothers Wii, or like Sonic Muso. Ah, we might get there. We might get there. You don't know what I'm gonna present after this Sonic Mania 2 presentation. You don't know that. Or like they could bring back like these special shoes from Sonic Chaos, right? In Sonic Chaos, there's like a rocket shoes power up that would just like allow you to fly over the level. There was also like a spring shoe power up that would just like make you like bounce a bunch. Stuff like that, you know, could be like, you know, like introduce some new stuff like that. Introduce some new toys to play with. And those items don't really need to be like present in every level. Maybe, you know, some of these items like, you know, the rocket shoe, for instance, it could just be something that is in just one level and it just, that's it. But you know, that could make a new Sonic Mania to sort of have like a fun new identity of its own, because that's really what I want from a new Sonic Mania. I feel like the first Sonic Mania is just so concerned with like upholding a legacy, right? With like convincing you that it's just like the old games. When I think that a new Sonic Mania could just like go all out and be confident in itself a little bit, because I think that a lot of the new ideas in Sonic Mania are really, really good. And I think that most of the times that the game falls flat, it's when it's like chaining itself to the past a little bit. Like, you know, Oil Ocean. Like, you know, putting Sendopolis elements in Oil Ocean and stuff like that. Just make it a shorter game. That's my number 2 point. I think that we can all agree that Sonic Mania is a little bit too long, doesn't it? Isn't it? Like, they could have just cut down Lava Reef and the Oil Ocean from the game, and it would have been a better game. Don't you agree? I think so. If you need to make it a bigger game, do it via some side mode / content that doesn't interfere with the main game. Again, with the thing of the blue spheres, right? Like how I think that the blue sphere stuff in Sonic Mania would have been better as like a side mode. Just like, hey, here's like 40, you know, blue spheres puzzle that you select with the cursor, you know, like numbered 1 to 40 or something. Number 3, good luck trying to do a new special stage because I have no idea what you can even do. I have zero idea. I guess you could just kind of like do the half pipe again, or you could like expand on the Knuckles Chaotic special stage. That was a fun special stage. But like, if we're talking about like a new idea, branching zones, yeah, branching zones could be cool. I don't know. It could be cool. It could be also like a very handy way of creating more replayability, right? In case those developers are like a little bit too insecure about the length of their game, which I feel like Sonic Mania has that a little bit of like this insecurity of like, oh man, I wonder if this is enough content. I wonder if like fucking 14 stages and 40 blue sphere stages is enough for these monsters. So, you know, maybe branching zones would be a fun way to like make sure that the game has like enough replayability a little bit, enough like meat to it, without like making playthroughs of the game last forever. I think that would be cool. Anyway. Oh yeah, just make it more beginner friendly and easy to parse. I try to introduce people who have never played Sonic before to Sonic Mania, and it made me realize how beginner and friendly Sonic Mania is. There's like a lot of like weird stuff to it that is just that feels like very uncaring of new players a little bit. And in those things like immediately turn these people off the game when I feel like they could have like if those obstacles weren't there, like really dumb obstacles, right? Um, then they would stick around longer and they would like figure out the game a little bit better because controlling Sonic for a complete newcomer who has never played Sonic before, it's hard. There is a little bit of a learning curve to it, to his momentum stuff. And so I think that like like Sonic Mania levels can be a little bit confusing. Sometimes their layouts, or like there's this one instance of Green Hill in Green Hill Act 2. There's this like pool, right? Like there's these little pools of water in Green Hill Act 2 of Sonic Mania, where like the way to get out of it is to go through like a wall and like realize that there's like a way upwards with like invisible platforms that you can't see. It's really awkward, and it's like and I was watching a friend of mine just be like panicking over it, like, oh my god, what do I do? I'm gonna drown. And I couldn't realize what we had to do because that was a path that I never really go through because it's like a lower path. And I'm like, what is the way out of this water? I don't understand. There's just a lot of like these like things in Sonic Mania that are just like, like maybe if I stuck around a little bit, I would have figured it out. But for someone who was already struggling, was like their first Sonic experience, it was like it was like terror, right? Like remind yourself of how terrified you were as a kid of drowning in Sonic, right? Like imagine like trying to figure out a way out of that situation while you're just like scared of drowning so much. I would also implement a camera pan like Sonic CD and Sonic Pocket Adventure and the advanced games have. You know how they pan a little bit forward when you start running fast? Sonic CDs is a little bit like not smooth enough, but like Sonic Pocket Adventure does a really good job with it. And so I feel like that's the thing that they gotta do to make it even more beginner friendly, because Sonic levels, Sonic games really start to flourish when you replay them over and over again. And I know this is a bad answer. I know this is a I know this is a bad defense of these games, right? Like, like when someone's like, "Oh man, I couldn't have seen that obstacle coming," and I'm like, "Well, those games just get better the more you play them and the more you like learn the level by heart a little bit." And I don't fault someone if they go like, "Well, they could have been just, there from the first go." And it's like, yeah, I can't really refute that. They could have been fairer for you. But they really do get better the more you play them. Good lord, don't send us back to the first act of a level if levels are going to be as long as the ones from Mania 1 can get. Yep. Level select for already cleared levels even if you didn't beat the game yet, and also per act also, right? So if you beat like only the first act of a level, you can select the second act to start with, right? Stuff like that. I feel like all of that would make the game more easy, more like more welcoming for people who are not already used to Sonic. Because there hasn't been shortages of takes of takes on Twitter.com of people being like, I don't get Sonic Mania. People being like, I don't get Sonic Mania. Why do people like this game? Why do people like this game? I don't get it. I just run into spikes and I don't understand this game. And, you know, I just wish they would get it. Hi, Pipa Pixie! Hi! But what's next for 3D Sonic? I think that's the question that's most interesting to answer, right? It's the question that I least have like a stake on, because I don't really like most 3D Sonic games. Photorealistic graphics. Like, the only 3D Sonic games that I like are Colors and Generations. But, you know, there was a time that I was a huge fan of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. And I guess, like, a little part of me is still like holding on to the idea of, like, a successor to those games a little bit. Of, like, hey, they could just make a good Sonic Adventure game, you know, like a really good one. Instead of just like, eh. They could just make like a really good 3D Sonic game. And also, I've been reading a lot of people, a lot of like different Sonic fans. You know, when you hang around the internet enough, you hear about all sorts of Sonic fans. You hear about the people whose tastes are exactly like completely different than mine. And you know, I think I have a pretty good idea of what they want. And so like this is kind of like a thought exercise a little bit of like, how can I deliver the game that these people want? You know? So here, like, this is not my ideal game. What I'm about to pitch is not my ideal game. This is just what I think would be the move that would most make sense for the franchise going forward. And that means that, like, I'm trying to abstain myself from just being like, hey, they could just make the perfect 3D platformer that has every character and every single move and whatnot. I'm trying to keep in mind, like, you know, like, difficulties in development that people have had, you know, that we've known that Sonic Team had. Keep in mind stuff like what's feasible for a team that doesn't really have a lot of like resources available for them. Hire this cat immediately, thank you. So this is just what I think would be the move that would most make sense for Sonic forward, because like I'm dying to know what they're going to do forwards, because I think it's going to be like really interesting, right? I don't think anyone has any idea of what they're going to do next. The next 3D Sonic is like the most like the biggest like incognito ever, since it's been like 4 years since Sonic Forces, and since I don't think they can go back to the boost gameplay well of like Sonic Unleashed and Generations and Colors and Forces, I don't think they can do that again. So they kind of like have to do something new, and that's exciting to me. And that also makes my brain go like, okay, what's the new thing that they could do? Here's the new thing that I would do. Lost World 2. Ah, man. Ah, Lost World. Ah, I had such high hopes for that game. It looked so good on previews. Ah. So, first things first, that boy needs a redesign. Man, maybe it's like the have you all seen that New Frame Plus video where it's like the animation of Sonic games, and it's like a 5-hour long video talking about like the animation of Sonic games, and as a professional animator, what do you think holds the character back, or what's good and what's bad about animation in Sonic games? That really got my mind sparking. So I might be like regurgitating some of his points a little bit. But like nothing drastic, but something to make him look more modern and less awkward in 3D. The muzzle's too small, so the mouth is either thrown all the way to the side like a side mouth, like, you know, Sonic's side mouth, which nothing wrong with that. It's cartoony, it's fun. But when your only solutions to like Sonic talking and expressing himself is to throw his mouth all the way to the side, or like have it like resting really low here, like this, like really, really low, that leads to like really weird mouth, right? It leads to like a mouth that you can't really tell what it's doing a lot of the times. You can tell that once 3D Sonic, he tilts his head a little bit like this. You know, he tilts his head downwards a bit. You can't see his mouth anymore. Once Sonic tilts his head down, you just cannot see his mouth. You don't know what he's expressing. And it's like really awkward. His hands are just really big. That's something that I've been noticing a lot. It's just like, man, here's the thing. His hands don't really look very big once his hands are closed. But once they're open, they look really, really big. And that makes me wonder if it's just the fingers. If it's just the fingers that are like really awkwardly big. They have like a really like big hot dog shape to them. And they didn't used to be like this. Like you compare it to Sonic's motto in Sonic Adventure 2. His fingers are like little French fries instead. And like that allows him to do like all sorts of like hand gestures without like looking awkwardly huge. Oh yeah, I always thought that the shoe in 3D Sonics are like really weird and tall. And they look really plasticky. They don't look like real. They look like a weird abstract plastic toy. And I think it's really weird because, I mean, the idea for Sonic was always like that he's like hip, right? That he's like, I don't know, like the idea for me of Sonic is always like he's like a cartoon character that has like really hip shoes. And so like the fact that they didn't really like update that design, the shoe design, at least for to look like better in high res, it's really awkward. And like I found this mod here. I found the Sonic Forces mod that just like replaces the Sonic shoe in Sonic Forces with the shoe design from the Sonic movie. And look at this! Look at this! Look at this! It looks amazing, right? Like, look at this. It's like, it's still like recognizably his shoe. It doesn't like look off. Like it's still like Sonic's shoe. You can still like parse it as his shoe. And yet it looks so like modern, right? It looks like it fits the like the higher fidelity of you know, of modern video games. Literally, if they just do this, that's pretty good. Of course, I don't think they should do exactly this. I would miss the belt buckle. I think you can't not have the belt buckle. I would riot if they if they remove the belt buckle, you know? I would riot. But I mean, this looks really good, doesn't it? Give that boy some drip. Give all the boys some give everyone some drip, you know? Like make the character designs still look recognizably themselves. But just, you know, give him this, dude. Give him this. Give him that Puma. Give him that Nike. Give him that Adidas. And of course, like, make these characters like really express themselves. I know that 3D is more challenging to do stuff like this Sonic OVA screenshot. But man, they don't try. Those models in even in the better animated 3D Sonic games, in cutscenes, they just kind of look like Toys to Life. They kind of look like Toy Story, but less animated. Like they look like a very still and plastic version of Toy Story, which is weird because Toy Story is already about toys. uh yeah, mascot head syndrome, right? Like and and like look at Sonic the Fighters. These characters animate so well in Sonic the Fighters. And I know they're like low poly. Yeah, like these characters are made to be cartoony, to be like squashy and stretchy and have fun expressions like these. I know that it's difficult to do that in 3D, but they gotta at least try a little bit more. And I mean, Sonic the Fighters does it. Sonic the Fighters does it. I think they can do it. Alright, so so enough about designs. Let's talk about actual like what do I think the next 3D Sonic should be like. So like I said, you can't rely on the Sonic Unleashed boost style gameplay anymore. I think that people are burned out of from it, and I don't think there's a lot else that you can do for it. I think that you have to like come up with some new way, some new, you know, Sonic 3D gameplay. Nostalgia for the adventure games is extremely high, whether it's deserved or not. People are not over Sonic Adventure 3. They did not like look at Sonic 2006 and go like, okay, this is Sonic Adventure 3. You have done it. I'm satisfied. You know, die-hard post-classic Sonic fans have gone completely bonkers since the last time they could have played as their favorite character in a main game was likely Sonic 2006. So like, you know, understand them a little bit here, you know? When I see them post online, when I see them post about like Mephiles being the best villain of all time, when I see them post about, you know, how Sonic 2006 has like the best story and was the last Sonic game that they have enjoyed, understand their struggle a bit. Understand their thirst. The last time they could have played as like Rouge the Bat was Sonic 2006. The last time they could have played as Omega was Sonic 2006. The last time they could have played as Blaze the Cat, well, I don't think that's true, because I guess Sonic Rush Adventure came afterwards. But you know, still, that's a long time. That's a long time of 3D Sonic games where all you could play as was like Sonic, and that's it. And if these people don't care about 2D Sonic, then they are in this like very, very intense thirst. So I think the only move that makes sense for our next 3D Sonic is to have a big cast of characters. But here's the problem. I don't know if you know this about 3D Sonic, but they don't have a good track record of having a lot of playable characters. It's a lot of work, and that's why there's been like such a huge span of time where all you could play as was Sonic, because it's really hard. Like, they can't even figure out exactly how to make Sonic play well in 3D. So imagine like trying to make that for like 6 different characters, right? It's a lot of work. And also, a lot of these people want a Sonic Adventure remake, but here's the thing. Sonic Adventure is impossible to remake. And I'll tell you why it's impossible to remake. It's literally the most desired. It's a game that makes perfect sense to remake. It's a game that like needs a remake, right? Almost, you could say that. That it's like it's such a foundational game. And it's also like so like clunky and old. You know, it's clunky in a charming way, I think. But you know, for people who really, really, really want to take Sonic Adventure seriously, they really, really want a remake of that game. But it's impossible, and I'll tell you why it's impossible to remake Sonic Adventure. The game scope is way too big. Sonic Adventure has 1 million systems, 1 million gameplay elements. It has Chow Garden. It has mini games. It has snowboarding. It has sandboarding. It has hub worlds. It has labyrinths. It has mirrors that you use to illuminate rooms. It's just a huge game. If you just take the same game if they just like take Sonic Adventure and just like apply some like model changes and texture changes and whatnot, I don't think anyone but diehard fans would like really care about it, because I think that Sonic Adventure is like legacy, like its image in the gaming pantheon is sort of tarnished. I don't think it's seen very well. I don't think it's like, if you have nostalgia, if you're like, man, Sonic Adventure was so amazing, I think that you're a diehard Sonic fan, right? If you cut the excessive content that Sonic Adventure has, you're gonna lose these people also. You just can't do it. And I mean, think about Sonic Adventure, right? Like, think about like the part that you want to play of Sonic Adventure is literally just Sonic's story. But then you have like 5 other characters on top of Sonic that you don't want to play as, but they are like integral to the identity of the game. So I don't think you can like get away with just doing a game that's just Sonic. You just have to have all the 6 characters, or at least 5 of them, and you could like reasonably cut Big the Cat and make it like a fishing mini game or something. But man, even 5 characters is a lot. Rethinking the game from the ground up for a modern approach like Final Fantasy VII Remake requires budget, sales, time, goodwill, polish, know-how, and confidence the franchise and team I don't believe have. Like, people keep telling me like, oh, you know, if Final Fantasy VII did it, Sonic Adventure can do it, and it's like, buddy, buddy, you don't have any idea of how big Square Enix is, right? Of how much money they poured into it, and how much money Sonic Team does not have to expend on that venture. And even Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's such a small portion of Final Fantasy VII. They had to cut that game in like, I don't know, maybe 3 parts. Is there going to be just a Final Fantasy VII Remake 1 and 2, or is it going to be like a trilogy? We don't even know that. And they can only get away with that because it is such like a gaming, you know, like it has such it carries such impact. Final Fantasy VII. Which Sonic Adventure, when you say Sonic Adventure to most people, they just go like, ugh, you know? Regardless of your feelings of Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure's reputation is tarnished. Yeah, right? Like, just to like remake, you know, like Big's Fishing. Probably take like 5 times the amount of budget and like time than they did to implement Big's Fishing in the first Sonic Adventure. Games have scaled way up high. It's so like a remake of Sonic Adventure, as time goes on, a remake of Sonic Adventure is less and less feasible. It's just not gonna happen. But what if they make a new 3D Sonic game with a playable cast of characters, like a spiritual successor to the adventure game? See, that way, you can, you know, play the whole game yourself. You can decide how many characters they're gonna have, what those different characters are gonna do. But that's more reasonable because you're just doing something from the ground up instead of like having to remake a game. But the problem is, how do we account for many different characters in a 3D platformer without making the workload enormous and the game unpolished as a result? Right? It's just way too much workload. And Sonic Adventure kind of like got away with it because all the other characters were like really unpolished, right? They just like made, you know, like really unpolished characters and just plopped them into sections of Sonic levels and just redesigned those sections a little bit to fit them, and that's it, right? And I don't think they can get away with that nowadays. Maybe they think they can get away. Maybe that's what they will do, but here's a question for chat. What's the type of game that allows for several different characters to have different expressive movesets that allow their personality to flourish. What is that kind of game? There is one genre of game that completely falls under this. RTS? Fighting game. Dating sim. Pilsers is right. It is a fighting game. That's right. The next Sonic the next Sonic game will be Sonic the Fighters 2, baby. We got him. We got it, baby. Sonic the Fighters 2 is the only thing that makes sense. I'm kidding. But it would be really, really good, wouldn't it? It would be really, really good for us to have that. But we're not far off here. I think that what would make most sense is a 3D platformer game with brawler combat, because then by the brawler segment, you can kind of like create, you know, expressiveness on the characters that way without having to affect level design much. I know that this describes every mediocre 3D platformer from the PS2 era, but it doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't have to be bad. You can make a good Sonic Heroes. I promise you, it could be done. I think the Kirby thing, I think it was about a point. I think I was about to make a point about how Kirby games are kind of like brawler platformers a little bit. But honestly, I like this better without context. Just look at Kirby. Let's everyone just look at Kirby for a little bit, you know? Let's just say our blessings to Kirby. Always look at Kirby. Let's just take a moment to look at Kirby over there. Anyway, here's why I think it would make sense for the next 3D Sonic game to have brawler style combat. And again, it's not like I'm like, this is the game that I want. I think that this is the game that most makes sense, considering that the fan base really, really, really wants to play as other characters that are not Sonic. And considering how can you make that feasible, right? And polished and stuff. Combat and enemy encounters have always been a sore spot in 3D Sonic games anyway. This could be the key for interesting and varied enemy encounters. So, here's the thing about combat in 3D Sonic games. Combat is non-existent, right? Because you have the homing attack, right? And the homing attack is a blessing and also a curse, in the sense that it's a blessing because it allows for Sonic to do what Sonic does in 2D, right? You just bounce on enemies to dispose of them, to dispose of that obstacle. And that in turn allows you to travel forwards, right? Travel upwards and forwards. And in 2D that makes sense because destroying enemies is like the most convenient way of going through an obstacle in 2D. But in 3D you can just go around them. And so in a game that is, you know, supposed to be fast-paced, supposed to have a momentum to it, to have a pacing to it. If the homing attack didn't exist, people would just like avoid destroying enemies. And so like the homing attack is like a really elegant way of preserving that pacing that 2D Sonic games have in 3D. However, you can't really do a lot with enemies with the homing attack. Sonic Adventure kind of tries, right, to have some variety. Like, hey, you know, here's an enemy. Here's like Cop Speeder, right? The little cops from Speed Highway, right? Like, you know, they swerve around you, and so, you know, you have to like kind of lure them in and jump, and like homing attack when they're speeding by close. Or you have like Orbinaut, the fire Orbinaut, which has like this fire ring around it, and you have to attack it once the fire ring expands. So, you know, there's an attempt to like bring some of that enemy variety that the 2D Sonic games have in 3D. But I think the truth of the matter is, with the homie attack, if you do anything too fancy, the homie attack is going to feel like unresponsive, right? Because a homie attack is automatic, right? There's no aiming. You just like go close to an enemy, and then you press the jump button, and Sonic immediately, you know, destroys it. So basically, most of the enemies are just fodder in 3D Sonic games. All that they can do is be like, hey, I have a shield. You can't homie attack me. You can't do the homie attack at me right now because I have a shield. You have to wait until like I dispose of this shield. Or like, hey, here's like a floating enemy, but like, watch out, I electrify. I get myself electrified sometimes, so you gotta time your homie attacks correctly. Like, that's it, right? It's like a it's like a 0-1 switch. It's a binary thing. Enemies can either be homie attacked or they cannot. There is not a lot of variety that you can do with enemies. And so combat makes sense in a 3D game because then you can reintroduce that variety of enemy encounters. But also, it means that you can extend level runtime. That's a big problem with Sonic games, right? That's a big problem with 3D games in general. Like, if you think about Sonic, Super Mario 64, for instance, right? The way that Super Mario 64 becomes is like such a long game. The way that Super Mario 64 has understood how to make 3D games have longevity is that levels just are like, instead of being linear affairs like 2D Mario levels, they are like these more open spaces in which you have to revisit them over and over again to do different missions in them, to do different objectives in them. And so like that's a way to save on workload, right? Way to save space too in the cartridges, right? Because any level in Mario 64 is actually like, you know, 8 different levels in one. It's just the same levels but with different objectives, right? Or even longer than that, because you can meander on these levels a lot. You know, some objectives are a little bit difficult to figure out. Yeah, it's a very practical design. And so you see that a lot in early 3D of like people trying to figure out how to milk those 3D spaces for longer times than you know, 2D levels. Because 2D levels are easy to create and they don't occupy that much space in a cartridge, whereas 3D levels are quite the opposite. And so Sonic, actually, what was interesting about Sonic Adventure, right, is that it completely didn't do that. Sonic levels in Sonic Adventure are like linear levels. They are like the most, out of all the 3D games of that era, I would say, out of all the 2D games that had to convert themselves into 3D, I would say that Sonic Adventure was the most successful conversion of that. Like, it manages to feel like a 2D Sonic game. The levels are linear. The levels have like a very similar pacing. The moveset, you know, like had to be adapted a little bit, but it still feels like Sonic, right? You're still going through loops. You're still like spin dashing all over the place. You're still hopping on enemies. So I think that Sonic Adventure at the time did something that other games couldn't do, which is that it managed to be like a really faithful replication of the 2D game in 3D. But the problem with that, Sonic games kept running into, you know, all the way to nowadays, is that level creation takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to create a Sonic level. And so you can see that in every single Sonic game, in every single 3D Sonic game. they try to figure out ways to extend the game beyond those like good, um, those good linear, fast-paced 3D levels, because it's like it's so much work for Sonic to just be done in like 3 minutes, right? And so even in the first Sonic adventure, they managed to extend the life of the game via the other characters. Like Sonic is like the quote-unquote main game, and then the other characters are like, you know, like ways to pad out that main game by just like plopping them into little sections, little areas of Sonic's levels that are slightly redesigned around. Sonic Heroes reuses level elements a lot in the same level. The levels are like really like huge in Sonic Heroes, but if you notice it, you're like going through the same level geometry over and over again in a lot of cases, but it's just like stuff is shuffled around. That's why Sonic Heroes levels are like so huge. And also you have to clear the same game with 4 different teams. So, you know, they expand the game length that way. Sonic Unleashed. Sonic Unleashed is like the prime example of that, right? You have like these beautiful, blazing fast Sonic levels that are like incredibly well polished, but that's only like 10% of the game, and the rest of the game is like going around the hub world, playing as the werehog. You beat a Sonic level in 5 minutes, you play like a werehog level that lasts 30. It's like a really stark example of that, right? Werehog is really slow, so they can make that game last, make that part of the game last for a long time. Whereas Sonic's levels are like, you know, they are just done with really quickly. Or, you know, Sonic Colors, the way that Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations by that did the kind of like solve this issue is that they basically said, hey, let's make like 70% of this game 2D. That's basically what Sonic Generations and Sonic Colors did. It's like, hey, you know, like let's make most of this game 2D. And even then, they are not very like long games. Sonic Generations is pretty short, and it kind of pans out the content further by all those like weird, not very good missions. And even then, it's very short. And Sonic Colors is also not very long, and sort of like reuses level bits around. So so 3D Sonic has always had this problem of like, how do we pad out these levels? How do we make a game that's like big enough, right? Because 3D Sonic levels especially, take so long to make. And so if you move away from the boost gameplay, if you make Sonic a little bit slower, a little bit closer in speed and run speed and movement speed than like a Sonic adventure, and if you can also like make those levels shorter and pad out the runtime of the level via little combat segments like Sonic Heroes does, you know, like little segments where it's like, hey, destroy all the enemies in this arena to, you know, move forward. You can pretty much like make more levels. You can make levels that last longer, and therefore you can just make more levels. Does this make sense? Anyway, characters would otherwise play nearly identical outside of combat, just 1 or 2 different small traversal abilities, just like in the 2D games. So yeah, I envision all the characters basically having like the same movement speed, the same jump height, stuff like that. And what would differ each of them is that they would have like a different midair like double jump thing, right? Like, hey, Sonic has the homing attack. Tails could like maybe float down like a Tanuki Mario. Small traversal abilities that wouldn't make each character have too much reach, but that you could like maybe make like small level segments that only this character can do it, and that most of each character's differences would boil down to combat, which it's convenient because then you don't have to redesign a level for like 5 different characters. You basically have to design a level for like one character, add a few alternate paths here and there this that only a double jump or only a floaty thing or only this other ability, only Knuckles climbing on very specific walls, right? Like Knuckles wouldn't be able to climb every wall. Knuckles would just climb like walls that are like very designated to him. Um, and their differences would like flourish more in combat. You would basically pick a character more because you like them, right? And you like how they can take care of enemies, right? Like different characters would have different weaknesses and strengths, and basically every level would be clearable by every character. It's just that like, hey, here's like an emblem that is hidden away that only this character can access, or maybe even different characters can have like common ability sets, right? Like maybe there's like 2 different traversal abilities, right? Like a mid-air one and maybe a ground one. And maybe the different characters are just like different configurations of that, right? Like maybe Sonic and Shadow both have a homing attack, but like on the ground Sonic has a spin dash while Shadow has something else, And so, homing attack would still be useful for like going through like a chain of enemies, right? Like going through, like the basic setup in 3D Sonics where it's like, hey, here's like 2 platforms that are too far away from each other for you to just jump from one another, but they're like connected through a line of enemies. So like the homing attack would still be useful for that, but I envision it not being useful in combat, because otherwise you just run into the same problem that Sonic Heroes has, in which it introduces combat, but once you get Sonic leveled up a little bit, you can just do combat by just like doing consecutive homing attacks over and over again, and that's not fun. That's not fun at all. Levels will be linear in action field, with a hub world that is like an open Super Mario 64 Sunshine Odyssey level, with small elements of Yakuza-like distractions. Again, I feel like this would like maybe like sweeten the deal a little bit for people who aren't traditionally into Sonic games. Be like, hey, like like a light whisper going like, hey, check this out. It's just like the Yakuza game. In reality, it wouldn't really be like the Yakuza game, but could have like some light Yakuza-esque elements. And the hub world would be, I don't think the hub worlds are like a bad idea for Sonic, but all the hub worlds that we've had in Sonic games are really boring. And if they could just be a little bit more like a Sonic level, like an open Sonic level a little bit, like if you can imagine or envision a Super Mario 64 level that has like Sonic elements instead of Mario elements, and it has little NPCs and maybe a little arcade where you can play the Mega Play version of Sonic 1, or you could play like Sega Sonic the Hedgehog or something, or you could play Sonic the Fighters. I feel like that would be fun. Fun and funny and outlandish writing, especially for NPCs. Again, that's another thing, right? You can pad out the game a little bit by making NPCs have like little missions for you, just like in Sonic 2006. But I mean, I think that like if you think about it, a lot of the side quests in Yakuza games are are like kind of boring on the surface. And I think what makes a lot of Yakuza side quests fun is that there's like a really good writing to them, whereas Kiryu is kind of like a Tsukomi character, and the people giving you the side quest is the bokeh, right? It's like a comedy routine. Like almost every side quest is like a little comedy routine, whereas Kiryu is the Tsukomi and the NPC giving you the side quest is the bokeh, right? And that's fun. And I think you can kind of do something like this. There are some side quests in like Sonic 2006 that are like actually pretty funny. That sort of employ a little bit of that writing. And you know, if Sonic 2006 was a better game, and if it didn't have a million loading screens between those side quests that takes forever, you would maybe walk away from some of those side quests with like a little bit of a smile, maybe, you know. You can use all the work on the Sonic Forces character creation to aid with NPC creation. You know, I think it's weird how Sonic games are like Sonic and friends are the only animal creatures. But I think that was mostly a restriction of like not knowing how to make a lot of like animal NPCs. But now that they've made that work into like a Sonic Forces character creator, I think this could aid in creating like non-human NPCs. And I think that a world in which you just have like fun creatures everywhere, but also humans, you know, it works. I don't know why Sonic never really did that. Like, you know, like think about Super Mario Odyssey. In Super Mario Odyssey you have both funny creatures and humans, and it's not weird because we all accept that it's like a cartoon world. And I don't know why Sonic is like ashamed of admitting that it's a cartoon world. Just make it, you know, a fun world. Here, I even wrote it. A fun world where cartoony humans coexist with animal people of all kinds and shapes and sizes, with a slight cooler, modern, and urban tone. I think that's Sonic, right? I think Sonic is just Mario, but like more futuristic and urban. Sonic is like, if Mario's a fairy tale, Sonic is like, you know, like urban and modern. If Mario's supposed to be like fairy tale times, I guess. You know, that moment in the history, fairy tale times. You can't not bring Chow Garden back. That's it. This whole thing here was just an excuse for me to cram this point over there. I think that you need to bring back Chow Garden in some way. I think it's insane they haven't done anything with Chow ever since Sonic Adventure 2. People are dying for it. I think that you need to do something with Chow's, right? Just a little something. Maybe it's not a full-fledged Chow Garden, but you could do a little something. Also, here's the thing. If this game is successful and well-liked and esteemed by fans as the closest thing to Sonic Adventure 3, you can remake Sonic Adventure with the same systems. A sequel to this game could just be a Sonic Adventure remake. That's right. That's right. We made it. The impossible remake is now possible. I am a genius. Do you understand my like decade-long plan? If you just make this game and people like this game and people think that it's like a good successor to the adventure games, if people are like, oh, this feels like a Sonic adventure, guess what? Guess what? They can just accept a remake of Sonic Adventure using the same format. They won't complain. you can just remake Sonic Adventure in this completely different gameplay style and gameplay system. And they won't complain if they, I mean, that's a big if, right? If they like this game, if this game is like accepted. Because I think that if this game is like really, really panned, then you can play that card. Then suddenly you cannot play that card. But if the fans like it, you can just like make a Sonic Adventure, but with this system, right? Make it so every character kind of plays similar, but they have brawler style combat, and it's like it's different. It's pretty different from Sonic Adventure, but not so different once you create another game beforehand. That's it. That's it. Sonic the Fighters 2, baby. We done it. We have done it. The name of the game is just going to be Sonic the Fighters 2. So yeah, I just really wanted to get this out of the way before whatever's next in Sonic is revealed. Because I had a lot of free time to think about this, and I'm like, I want to share this. I want to share this before, you know, Sega decides. Oh my god! Thank you! Thank you for the gift subs, Sarah. Oh man. You got the rare. You got the rare notification. Oh man, these sounds are way too loud. They're gonna scare me. I don't know. I don't know if it's too loud on your end, but it's really loud on mine. So I can't really I can't really say anything. Otherwise, it's just gonna interrupt me. Sonic and Balan Wonderworld. So yeah. I just had a lot of time to think about this, and I really wanted to share this before Sega, you know, announces what their plans are, and announces that it's completely not gonna be this at all. But you know, maybe it's going to be something like this, and I'm gonna be like, aha! I'm gonna be like, aha! See? I told you. I told you they were going to do this. This is the solution that makes most logical sense going forward. Oops, hold on. There we go. So, now that we're done with this presentation, yeah, they're fun, aren't they? I'm glad you all enjoyed it, because I don't think I didn't know whether anyone would enjoy this, all this like lunatic ranting, because I feel like a lot of armchair designing just feels like, you know, just feels like someone going like, here's why I'm the smartest person in the universe. Here's why I should be designing the next Sonic game. And it's not that at all. It's not that feeling that I have. It's just weird obsession brain of being Sonic head from childhood. That I cannot, that it just comes out as this. Anyway. I'm going to get a little glass of water, and then we're going to play a game. We're going to play a Sonic game, actually. But I need y'all to be here for the Sonic game that we're going to play. Alright? So don't go anywhere, because you will be needed. Alright, let me just go grab a big gulp of water. Hello, everyone. Before we begin, I need to. My stream setup is terrible. So, I actually need to. I actually need to manually adjust a few things here. Where is the thing? It started on another folder. I don't know where I saved it. Right here, isn't it? Okay. I figured out a new way of doing widescreen. And I'm gonna show you what. The off-screen game of hide and seek. What do you mean by that? Sorry. Hello, everyone. Hunting for my game files. Yeah. So I have a different stream layout for widescreen now that I've created. And this is what we're gonna play. We're gonna play Chat versus Sonic Mania. I'm just gonna like turn the stream down so we have like a clear separation of like Sonic Talk and Chat versus Sonic Mania. And then we can begin.